This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. Hey, what's up, everybody? And it's time for me to do winners and losers. Hold on. No. Well, yeah. You know, it's a short week for the Cleveland Browns. It's a short week for everybody watching. Browns have a quick turnaround. And you know what, man? You know what I'm on? I'm on the no-sit program. We not sitting until Thursday night, unless it's a video that I recorded with the advertising partner weeks before this. That might drop this week, and I will be sitting in that one. But for every other video, any video that I record on the week of December 25th, this Christmas, I will be standing 10 toes down until the Cleveland Browns officially clinch their playoff spot. That's what we are on. We are all standing this week because what I want people to do and understand is, while this game is important that we're going to talk about, while winning this game and getting your 10th win basically confirms that you're going to be in the playoffs. It's about something much more than that on Thursday night, because the Browns aren't just playing to clinch the playoffs. They aren't just playing to slide into the wild card. The Browns are still alive until they aren't in the division race. And until they out of that, we playing everything like they got a chance to get into it, because if we just tie with Baltimore record-wise, we win that tiebreaker, we win the division, and we have never done that, win the AFC North. And I would love to have one less thing for people to talk about when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. So while that's all going on in the background, we all know what's happening. I want to encourage us to be as pumped up for Thursday night as possible. I want to encourage us whatever sliver of Browns world will be at that game. I want us to all have that 10 toes down, stand up on it energy when it comes to Thursday night, because I want that to be the craziest Cleveland Browns stadium that you have ever seen in your life. I want people to talk about the dog pound is back. I want the defensive players to be all juiced up and just demolish whoever is playing for the New York Jets on that game. And the way that we achieve that is if we stand 10 toes down and have that energy all week for the Cleveland Browns. So if you notice I'm standing a lot till Thursday, it's simply because I'm standing a lot. Now, let's get into the winners and losers of this game. And I'm gonna be honest with you, ain't no losers. I'm not about to pick on them second string boys. Like, ain't no losers. I'm not about to make fun of Mike Ford. Leave that man alone. All right. Mike Ford's a solid special teamer. That's all we need him to be, even though I don't know where he was when that kick return happened. All winners today, man. All winners today. We're going to start with the offensive side of the ball. Joe Flacco, first winner of the day. Of course. Third straight game of over 300 yards. He almost got to 300 yards in his first game. He's put up almost 1,200 yards in 4 starts with the Cleveland Browns. He's the first Cleveland Browns quarterback this year to start 4 consecutive times. And he had the best game, I think, of any quarterback this year. Like, do I put it over all of the Deshaun games? I would put it over. I would put it over. I think he had the best game individually of all the quarterbacks this year, which shout out to him. Shout out to Joe for achieving that. 87 QBR, which I believe is the highest achieved by any quarterback in the Cleveland Browns uniform this year as well. I mean, look, I'm not going to start the whole, well, does this make it awkward for Deshaun Watson thing? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Deshaun Watson's hurt for the year. It doesn't matter what happens for Deshaun Watson until March. Like, and then they'll figure that shit out in March and we'll be all right. You know what I mean? But as far as right now, I really don't see a need to be that concerned about how this makes Deshaun Watson feel. It's kind of a concern for Deshaun Watson and his people. It's not really a concern for me. But yes, this was the best quarterback game that the Browns have had according to QBR and probably PFF grade. This was a well quarterback game. I think Joe Flacco not only made the throws in front of him, I think he made good decisions with the football. Yes, he had the 2 interceptions, but those interceptions were not the same as some of the other interceptions that he threw, right? He threw a jump ball interception basically at the end of the first half that would have never happened if the Browns kicker didn't get hurt. And then he threw a interception on a go ball that was there. He just kind of underthrew it. Shit happens. I don't mind those kind of mistakes. Like, that's not anything that I'm upset about, right? Like, that's not him blindly throwing over the middle because he's trying to avoid a sack or mistakes that will drive me crazy. It's pretty acceptable stuff. So I don't really care about the 2 interceptions. The yardage and I think the touchdowns here in this one far outweigh it because the interceptions didn't create any points. Obviously, end of game and a half interception didn't cost you any points. And then the interception that he had close to the end of half in the last 2-minute drill, in the 2-minute drill of the first half, didn't cost you any points because Case Keenum threw an interception, gave it right back, and then we threw another interception. So it didn't end up costing nothing. So if your interceptions don't cost points, I'm not going to trip over them. If your interceptions aren't structurally bad, I'm not going to trip over them. It's only when that's the case that I feel like I have to say something about it. So yeah, that was definitely the most well quarterback game of the year. And I think that's a credit to Joe Flacco because I think Deshaun put together some good games this year. So shout out to Joe. He's playing at a starting quarterback level right now at age 38, about to be 39 in like a couple of weeks. And honestly, like, I'm going to keep it a bug with you. Joe Flacco's probably playing his best football since like 2014 or like not even 2014. He wasn't even good in 2014, like 2013, like between 2011 and 2013. That's kind of what he's playing like. He's playing in that 2011, 2013 era, Joe Flacco. And maybe what this game is an indicator of is that now that he's comfortable with the offense, he's had 4 weeks to be in it, that he's going to start turning the ball over in less critical parts of the game or just stop turning the ball over, period. And if Joe Flacco can do that, if he just simply stops turning the ball over and plays like he has for the rest of the way, it's not an exaggeration to think that the Browns could come close to, if not winning, a Super Bowl with that level of quarterback play. Now, it has to be done. We haven't had a no interception game with him yet. He's thrown how many interceptions has he thrown? Like 8 or 9 or something like that. So he's thrown a lot of interceptions, but again, it's about how impactful and how those interceptions happen, what's happening in the structure of the play and the structure of the drive when those interceptions happen that matters more. And those interceptions were pretty inconsequential. I wasn't really tripping over either of those interceptions. So Joe Flacco, winner in this game, playing some of the best football he's played since about 2011, man. Like, he's found a fountain of youth. I don't know how long this is going to last, but I don't care, to be honest with you. It's been fun enough, and I see no reason to believe that he's going to like fall off a cliff, which was my biggest worry about him, right? That he would get to the point where the back-to-back grind of an NFL schedule will really start to wear on him and he would play poorly because of it. We'll see how he looks on a short week. That could be pretty taxing on him. But even if he has a bad game this week, his body of work is strong enough to where I'm not going to instantly be out on him. And then he'll have 10 days to heal before they play Cincinnati. So again, not really tripping over whatever Joe Flacco gives you for the rest of the week. I think that what he gave you this week was spectacular. And I think it's one of his best games he's played in quite a long time. Technically, it's his best game he's played since 2020 when he was with Denver. I think he had a game that was similar to this as far as like QBR. But I think it's some of the best throws he's made in a game consecutively, consistently since he was in Baltimore. And if you look at what the Browns have and what that Baltimore offense had, it's actually quite similar. Like, you got somebody to fill the Anquan Bolden role. You have somebody to fill that Jacoby Jones role. You have somebody to fill, all those roles in between, the Dennis Pitta role. That's what David Njoku's been filling. So it's just interesting to see this revival for Joe Flacco in Cleveland, of all places. Running the ball, there was really no winner. Jerome Ford averaged 1.7 yards a carry. It's just tough, man. They ain't got no bodies there to really throw at it. Joe Bitonio's back hurts, so like I imagine that's going to affect his run blocking. And Ethan Posick was fresh off injury. Maybe by the time we get to the playoffs, we get a decent run game back. But as far as it is right now, it's just not going to be good. Kareem Hunt averaged 1.6 yards. The only running back to average something decent was 4.4 by Pierre Strong and 5 carries. Yeah, man, it's getting rough back there. It's getting rough. 54 yards, 1.8 carries, 2 touchdowns though. So hey, score when it mattered. Amari Cooper is obviously the biggest winner of today. I mean, he just deserves so much more respect. And if we look at Amari Cooper's career and we compare it to other guys, like he is one of the best wide receivers of this generation, but he doesn't often get talked about it as such. He has 1,250 yards this season. That is a career high for him. He has 5 touchdowns this year. I believe, let's see what his career high is for his career. His career high for his career. I'm sorry. I've made a lot of videos this week. My brain is not working great. So last year he had a career high in touchdowns. This year he has a career high in yardage. He also has a career high in yards per catch. He's just playing the best football he's ever played in his NFL career in Cleveland, which is just such a difference, right? Because this is another difference that I pointed out with this organization and how they've been over the last few years versus what they used to be. Is a guy like Amari Cooper gets traded here 10 years ago, that's going to be the end of his career. You know, it's going to be a bumpy part of his career. This time around, it goes to Amari Cooper being traded to Cleveland. And it's some of the best stuff that Amari Cooper has ever done in his career, if not the best. Like, he is on track to have a career year in a bunch of different categories here. He was never this good in Dallas. He was never this good in Oakland. And one of the things I hit on in my post-game video that I'm going to hit on again is it's funny because he was never treated like a number one target. He was never treated like a number one option, but so many years in his NFL career, right? You had the first 2 years in Oakland where he got 130 targets and he got good production out of it, right? Similar to what he's doing now. And then they just stopped giving him targets year in and year out. And they just did not treat him like a number one option. And then he gets to Cleveland and he's treated like the number one option and the numbers follow. Like, I wonder what his career could have looked like if people just got out their own head with Amari Cooper and started like just treating him like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, because that's what he's been so far. He's been one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's just been flat out balling for a very long time in his NFL career, but specifically now with Cleveland. And I think he deserves a lot more respect than what he's been getting. And I think it's just something that should be noted right now. Like, I think he is where is he right now when in the top yardage total? I think he's inching towards top 5 status in receiving yards. Man, big shout out to Coop, man. Nobody deserves it like Coop does at that position. He's really just found a way to ball it out. And this is a wholesome story that the Browns have going on with Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper. So you gotta love all of that going on there. Defensively, I'm going to just put the whole defense on the winners list. This was a performance that they needed. This was something that they needed to show themselves more than they needed to show everybody else. Like, I think most people assumed, okay, the Browns are eventually going to play good defense on the road, right? But in order for that to happen, they got to have a performance where they can believe in it themselves. And this was a performance where they could believe in it themselves. That it's not some kind of mythical force that's making them play bad on the road. It's up to them, right? And they made it up to them today. They played the defensive game that we expected. If they played this game at home, it wouldn't have felt any different. This is the defense that we know and love for this Cleveland Browns. And look, it didn't take a massive effort from Myles Garrett. It didn't take a massive effort from one individual player, although you had some great individual efforts in this game. It truly was a group effort, like just guys stepping in, making plays here and there, right? Every once in a while be Shelby Harris, and every once in a while be Dalvin Tomlinson making a play. And then boom, there comes Jordan Elliott, or maybe Alex Wright making a play, or Sione Takitaki, or DeAnthony Bell, or JOK, or maybe it's Miles this time, or it's Za'Darius who had 2 sacks. Shout out to him. He was due for a big one, right? Like, these are the things that make a great defense. And what makes this defense great is that it just doesn't have to be one person. Even though you have the one person where when you need it, he gives you it. You have that guy. It doesn't need to be Miles in order for a play to be made. You have so many playmakers up and down this roster, a roster missing its entire safety room, by the way. Like, all 3 safeties we came into the season with are out right now, and are out for the remainder of the season. It feels like, I don't know when Juan Thornhill's coming back, but all of these guys are out, but all of these guys are still stepping up, making plays. And I think that's the most important part about this defense, and why this defense just feels so dominant is because we're not just looking at one guy and saying, please save us for 99% of the snaps. We're looking at the whole defense and saying, hey, man, somebody going to do something, because usually somebody does something. It's a dominant defense, and I expect them to continue to look dominant. And I'm be honest with you, if I'm an offense in the playoffs, there's no team I want to play less than the Cleveland Browns. That's my thoughts. Those are my winners and more winners of this week's game. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have a better night. Peace.